story that was told to me was that when I was about 10 years old, I declared that I wanted to be a brain surgeon. I didn't even know what a brain surgeon was at that point in my life, of course, but somehow that seemed to be something that I wanted to do. And I guess my mother and my grandmother also had a lot of healing ways, so I was very fascinated by that type of thing. We were an Aboriginal family growing up in Perth. It was a very difficult time back in the 60s and 70s. It was sort of like living in two worlds really, living in both an Aboriginal world at home and a Western world at school, and trying to bridge the two worlds together and make sense of it. I thought being a doctor would be a great opportunity. I was interested in health in general and making a difference, and I just thought this would be the way to go. It was so important that we had our own medical school here, and certainly for people like me who wouldn't have been able to afford to travel, I wouldn't have been able to do medicine had UWA not given me that opportunity. I was probably, from what we've learnt, the first. So there weren't any other Indigenous medical students. There was no one really to give me any guidance from that perspective, really just had to forge my own path in that way. I finished medical school, I worked for a few years, and then I was working in general practice. I was also working at the Children's Hospital as a forensic medical officer in the Child Sexual Abuse Clinic. Seeing that children who were traumatised were not being dealt with well by the system, no one understood what to do with them, so I was determined to get the training in order to do that, and I did that. The federal government called for a Royal Commission into institutional responses for child sexual abuse, which was set up in 2013. There's 6 commissioners, of which I'm one, and it was to look at really what happened to people, really from some decades ago, but also to contemporary times in regard to their experiences in institutions. An institution is broadly defined, so that can be things like schools, it can be sporting clubs, it can be the large orphanages that we had, it can be the out-of-home care system. What I would like to see is Australia being the safest place for children to grow up. We've failed in the past, and it would be really nice to know that we've now understood and recognised and acknowledged that past, learnt from it, and have actually moved forward to making Australia the safest place for children to grow up, because we have a wonderful country here, we really do.